and locks. Come, let we fix this. PDP, let we fix this now. Come, let we fix this. We got more PDP.
Lift your chest to be able to walk proud. Talk your language. No bother with them. That's part of your culture. Understand your culture is different from Trinidad. I make that quite plain. So when I'm talking in Trinidad, I'm talking publicly for the PSC. Let us use the local language. Let me fix this.
PDP victory. The road now run, the journey rough. We foot strong and our we skin tough. So many dots have been shown at us. Real Spartans never give up. Yeah. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. Yeah, Jubilee. PDP victory, yeah. PDP victory. Tobagonians are born fighters, carry the genes of our ancestors. You change hands so many times, mama. To get your freedom, you have to fight back. I see the many scars upon your back. Wage war against the oppressor. I tell you this is no football match. It's serious like Bellman and Riot. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. Yeah, Jubilee. PDP victory. Yeah. PDP victory. Your enemies you shall see no more. Tobagonians will live better off. Better opportunities for the poor. Victimization it will be no more. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. The year of Jubilee. Tobago. PDP victory. Yeah. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. A brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. Yeah, day of Jubilee. PDP victory.
Yeah, Mr. Cards.
Progressive Democratic Patriots. Now we fix this.
Spartans!
Change. We just want some change. Change. We just want some. The people fed up of this separation. One bag of promise bring frustration. Let we fix this now, no hesitation. What the youths them want is elevation. We'll play parks for the recreation. Not to mention tertiary education. Nothing in place is passing straight from start idle and end up in a station. To this election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow for you and me. This election who we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow. 4 more years of the same thing. 4 more years of the blame thing. Tobago we fed up of the stress. So time for the PNM press. Realize, recognize, realize. So the snake in the ball is in the disguise. Tricky Tracy, where they zip line. Them a sell lies with big smiles. So this election we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow for you and me. This election we voting for? That easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow. tomorrow. Natasha Charles Ponson, Dr. Faith B. Israel, Terrence Baines, Sarisha Hackett, Joel Sampson, Sonny Craig, Abby Taylor, Wayne Clark, Ian Pollard, Megan Morrison, Farley Augustine, Niall George, Watson Duke, Trevor James, and Nigel Tate. December 6, make the right decision. Vote for the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Yeah, we fix this. This election we voting for, that easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow for you and me. This election we voting for, that easy. PDP, black and green, the Spartan army. For a better tomorrow. The people fed up of this operation. One bag of promise bring frustration. We fix this now, no hesitation. What the youths them want is elevation. We'll play parks for the recreation. Not to mention tertiary education. Nothing in place as far as I'm share from. Start I
Spartans! What is your profession?
This year we ready. PDP victory. The road now run the journey rough. We foot strong and our skin tough. So many dots have been thrown at us. Real Spartans never give up. Yeah. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. You have to believe. PDP victory, yeah. PDP victory. Tobagonians are born fighters, carry the genes of our ancestors. You change hands so many times, mama. To get your freedom, you have to fight back. I see the many scars upon your back.
I have found that Tobago gets more done when Tobago votes for Tobago-centric party that does not have a base in Trinidad. Because Tobago has to mind Tobago's business now. We have not mind our business for the last 21 years. We're minding the business now.
PDP victory, yeah. PDP victory. Your enemies you shall see no more. Tobagonians will live better off. Better opportunities for the poor. Victimization it will be no more. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream.
Spartans, good evening. Welcome to the electoral district of Plymouth Blackrock. May we all stand for the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. remain standing as Mr.
Let us pray. O Heavenly Father, Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we give you thanks and we give you praise. We give you glory and we give you honor. Lord, there is no other God but you. And we are so gracious, Lord God, that you have blessed us to see this day. Father, we ask of your guidance and your protection. We ask of you to take charge of this evening's proceedings. And we make a special plea, Lord God, that you will cancel out the work of the enemy against every single candidate, Lord God. Father, we pray, Lord God, that the work of the enemy will have no place in this election. Lord God, we pray, Lord God, that you shall shine that light upon us. Father, as each speaker come forward to you tonight, Lord God, let it be heard for all those who are listening virtually and in present. Father, we give you all the praise, we give you all the glory, for there is no other God but you. You are truly the one and true magnificent God. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we say amen.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. You may have your seats. Plymouth Black Rock. The focus is on that electoral district this evening. But allow me to first acknowledge the political leader of the PDP, Comrade Watson Solomon Duke. Allow me to acknowledge the deputy political leaders, Brother Farley Chavez, Augustine. The emphasis is on Chavez. Sister Faith B. Israel and Sister Alicia Roberts Patterson. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the best part of this beautiful island of Tobago, Plymouth Black Rock. I say that without fear of contradiction. The new electoral district of Plymouth Black Rock is one of the newly constituted electoral districts for this election. In January, there were 12. We now have 15. But it's no biggie. We are not fussing. There's no fear with us that victory is still ours in that electoral district. Plymouth Black Rock is the new Black Rock Whim. Plymouth Black Rock is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of the other. It impinges upon 5 other electoral districts. So it's now from a part of what was Plymouth Golden Lane. There is now a part of Black Rock Whim. There is a bit of Bethel Mount Irvin. There is a bit of Signal Hill, Patience Hill, and there is a bit of Buku Mount Pleasant. But we are not strangers. So it is not difficult for us to forge an alliance, to be friends, to know who we are. Plymouth, let me take the name of the electoral district, Plymouth Black Rock. We are fed by Colon Bay. Many folks in Black Rock had their education at Plymouth Anglican School. The story of Cats and Jammers Steel Orchestra will not be told without mention of the assistance from Plymouth. Tafari and Stokely Vale would have met on many occasions. So we are already buddies. We have our relatives. We pass on our way to Scarborough through Mary's Hill and through Whim. Colon Bay, Grafton Bay, Mount Irvin Beach, Back Bay, Grange Bay. These are the playgrounds of the folks from Patience Hill and Signal Hill and Bethel and Mount Irvin. So it is not hard for us to be an electoral district. It is not hard for our candidate, Niall George, to find warmth and support and encouragement and love within the electoral district. So we welcome this newly constituted electoral district. And brothers and sisters, you know what we are at Plymouth. We are a proud people. We don't like to lose. Winning is within us. We did it in January when we were part of Plymouth Golden Lane. And there is no doubt that we can do it again 10 months later. But tonight, we have other candidates who are on this excellent, competent team of competent persons that make up the PDP, the Spartans. Competent people, no doubt about it. People who can lead and can govern and take Tobago in the direction that it should be going. Tonight, I want to welcome to speak to us first, Miss Abby Taylor, the candidate for Darrell Spring Wim. Abby, come talk to us.
Black excellence.
PDP. Born to win. PDP in control. Black and proud. PDP in control.
A pleasant good evening. Thank you guys again for having me. Tonight the focus is on Mr. Niall George. Niall, I know little about you, but in the small time that we have been lumped together as candidates on this journey, I have sat back and I have observed you. And I would like to tell you a little story. I like to start off my things with stories, because I believe we are a combination of stories. While walking my electoral district of Darrell Spring Wim in the village of Wim, which Niall and I share, I came across, or I was engaged in a conversation that tickled my fancy. It was a conversation about representation. I thought you wasn't going to talk to me. I was like, why? Why wouldn't I talk to you? Because I'm a surname. I said, but your surname has nothing to do with me talking to you. That was one story. This afternoon, again, I was engaged in a conversation with young persons in my village, Marysill, and this conversation took that very same direction. Representation. Niall, tonight I want to challenge you to two things, because you are inheriting part of me. As a matter of fact, I would be voting for you. So you are my next area representative. And I am going to challenge you on two fronts, because I want the best from you, and Tobago deserves the best from you. I want you to challenge the narrative, or to change the narrative of what representation means to us Tobagonians. I want you to challenge persons in different discourses as to the ideology, the concept, the philosophy of what representation looks like and what representation means to us as Tobagonians. As I said last night, representation is not a popularity contest. It's about who is most willing and competent to execute the job at hand. And I know you are both things and more. I want you, on the other hand, to challenge people to challenge themselves. Because I believe that we can do so much more as a people united. However, we are not being challenged. And in my community of Marysill, which you have inherited, you will face many challenges. Challenges of self-doubt and challenges to you that doubt your competency. I want you to rise above it. I want you to stand. I know you're back broad. You're from Barrick. I want you, at the end of your 4-year tenure, to look back and say, I did my best. And as a constituent in your electoral district, I would be challenging you along the way, because I deserve the best. and Tobago deserves the best. So tonight, when you see Niall on the road, engage him, talk to him, ask him questions, because I believe that we don't ask enough of our representatives. We just go with what we normally know, either with family set to vote or whatever the case may be. That's not the case. That's not where we are as a people. We are in 2021. I want you to challenge Niall and trust and believe. The man I have known in this very short space and time, if he does not have the answer, he would go and research the answer and get back to you. Challenge him on all fronts, because he should be prepared for this fight. And as much as we say we are, everything is a learning process. And he still has to learn from you. So be open to him, be kind, but challenge him on all fronts. Niall, I hand Marysill and Wim and Philadelphia and parts of Union over to you. And I know that you are more than competent to be the best area representative they have ever had. So tonight, I endorse a man who is not only willing, but tonight I endorse a man who is competent. Blackrock, Plymouth, Blackrock, however you want to swing it. Your only choice on December the 6th is Niall George. Thank you.
PDP. Black excellence.
PDP. Born to win.
Thank you, Abby. Spartans, those of you who are here physically, those who are in their homes, you are with us in the virtual space, whether you are across the pond in Trinidad or you are further afield. We're going to have a conversation tonight. We are going to talk. I want to borrow some words from Patsy Ferguson before we go any further. Tobago, the world looks at you and will look at you until 6 p.m. on December 6th. And I want to share these words with you. They fear you. They fear you being awake. They fear you waking up others. They fear you speaking up. They fear you speaking out. They fear you standing up. They fear you resisting. They fear you rebelling. They fear you revolting. They fear you not complying. They fear you, Tobago, banding together. They fear you standing as a people together. They fear you coordinating. They fear you sharing stories. They fear you learning that you are the majority. They fear you realizing your power, Tobago. They fear you using your power, Tobago. Tobago, simply, they fear you for who you are. With the DNA of Sandy and APT James and Bigot flowing within you, Tobago, they fear you. And we're going to have a little conversation. Because like you, I hear what is being shared in the public space. And there are myriad of reasons why the electorate in Tobago must not cast an X against any of the 15 candidates on the PDP slate come Monday, December 6th. All sorts of foolishness, Tobago. This afternoon I'm hearing, protect your children and your grandchildren, because if you don't vote in a particular way, there will be nothing left for your children and your grandchildren. And I ask, as at now, what hope does my 33-year-old son have? What hope does my 8-year-old grandson have under this PNM regime that has been in our faces for the last 21 years? None whatsoever. Hope is swiftly fading away. But future, when you talk about protecting your future, protect what? How do you define future and for whom should it be protected? The PDP has not been in office. We have held 2 seats, then we have held 6. We have gone no further. But a very concerned gentleman said, look at the creep. I want to tell him he's no longer a creep, he's full of run. He's full of run. He missed the message. Usain Bolt, time now. He says, check the creep. 2 seats to 6. And then God knows what. Well, we got news for him. He either joined it, but he can't vote here. This is a full gallop to the polls. At 6 p.m. on December 6th. PDP. We ain't creeping. You talk about future. What is future? Let's simply take our lands. The THA holds vast acreage on this island. And for most of the 21 years, from Orville, London to Ansel Dennis, oops. What have we gotten from the vast acreage that they hold? And to add insult to injury, you're now saying to me and to us as Tobagonians, if you find land with a private developer, negotiate and then come, and I will give you 25% off. What an insult to us as Tobagonians. When you have land or inheritance in your full grasp, that can be made available to us and give us a hope of being landowners. But no, Tobago. Tobago know your value. Tobago know your worth. Tobago know that you are worth something, and the assets of this island are equally yours as the selected few. Know your worth, Tobago. Remember, they fear you. At this time, I want to ask to come to talk to us the sitting assemblyman for Bethel Mount Irving and the candidate for Bethel Newgrange, the chairman of the White Beard Association, Pastor Terence Baines.
Yo, yo, yo. Da 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 da. Critical and crucial. Yo, watch them. Some people dedicated to evil and wickedness. Watch them. But watch this. Watch them. Yo, don't have to do anything for them not to like you. Evil and wicked is the name of the title. Don't have to do anything for them not to like you. Evil and wicked is the name of the title. Cause they heart it stink, hands them dirty. The way that they think so.
Alright, Mr. DJ. Good night, everybody. Good night, PDP family. It is good to be in the land of the living, and I am very, very happy that I have this privilege bestowed upon me to give support and to endorse a very good friend and to me a competent candidate and will be an exceptional representative, Mr. Niall George. Yeah, that's a good place to clap right there. That's a good place to clap right there. You know, I have been fortunate enough to know Mr. George for some years in another political dispensation and perhaps manifestation. And most of what you are hearing about Mr. George, if not everything you're hearing about him, are true as it relates to his commitment and his work ethic and the kind of person that he is. And you will agree that in this Tobago space, good leaders and good representatives are a dying breed. In fact, I have said it before, and at the risk of sounding monotonous, I will say that good representatives are like an endangered species. When you consider what we have in Tobago for the past 2 decades, passing for representation, you have to give God thanks when a man like Niall George steps up to the plate wanting to represent the district of Plymouth Blackrock. PDP! And I am very happy that I could be on a team with a gentleman like this, because I know he adds tremendous value to us as a whole. And our intention is not to act like we are here on a popularity contest and looking for photo ops. Our intention is to bring true representation to the people of Tobago that have been suffering, that has been under tremendous pressure. And so we have sought the best individuals from the east, the west, the north, and the south under the PDP banner, so that Tobago can have an ease after December the 6th. And so tonight I commend Mr. Niall George for his decision to step forward, because it's not easy. It's not easy to step out on this platform, you know. I don't know if you realize it. In fact, a butcher said that when you're killing a cow, you must always look out for the last kick. He said you have to be careful, because that last kick could kill you. And if you don't believe me, you ask any butcher. Ask any butcher and they will tell you that. And if you notice what is taking place in the camp of the PNM, from the Prime Minister right down, it is a last kick that they are engaging. All these attacks, all these personal attacks, all these videos they're doing, all these name calling that is in this space, it is the last kick of the PNM in Tobago. And so we are saying we are going to position ourselves, stay out of the way of the kick, and make sure that the animal is dead, and so new leadership can come to Tobago after December the 6th.
Oh Lord.
So I say to all of you here as PDP people, because it looked like there's a new kind of venom against PDP. There's a new kind of hatred. Listen to me. The PNM, the way they operate, they have a kind of wicked streak that when they can't get their way, when they look like they're losing ground, they go to attack you personally, because they know that personal attacks have an effect on human beings. But we shall not be deterred. We are going to trust God to insulate us from their wickedness, and we shall be focused and go to the polls and vote for the PDP come December 6th.
Okay.
So I say to my friends in Plymouth and Blackrock that Mr. Niall George is a breath of fresh air. I say it again. Mr. Niall George is a breath of fresh air. Mr. Niall George is going to be a part of the solution rather than the political problem. And we have been suffering here in Tobago. We have been under pressure. We have been relegated as if we are just subjects in our land. We have been brutalized verbally. We have been mistreated. We have been robbed blind. But thankfully, the PDP is on the landscape, and it is in fact a full gallop onto the polls on December 6th. And we are going to see a brand new political change in this place called Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I endorse and I commend unto you Mr. Niall George to be the next area representative of Plymouth Blackrock. God bless you and good night.
I don't wanna be no part of the bosses. Artists stay, hands them dirty. Watch out if they call your partner and buddies. Artists stay, hands them dirty. You will alter your sorrow and find
Thank you, Pastor Baines. Your people say proper endorsement. and we welcome you to Plymouth Black Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we're going to be having some conversations tonight. I'm taking some liberties, but I'm old enough to take liberties within the PDP. Now, we are hearing threats left, right, and center coming from the other side. All sorts of threats. But people, let me tell you something. I was an 18-year-old, don't try to check my age now, in 1976, when the voting age was moved from 21 to 18. I was voting for the first time. I was a sixth form student at Bishop's High School. And we, the young people then, decided we had enough of the PNM. And we voted out Winchester and Basil Pitt. And in came A.N.R. Robinson and Winston Murray. And let me tell you something, threats and bad mind and hardship for Tobagonians from the PNM is not a new thing. And when Dr. Williams formed his cabinet in 1976, there was no ministry for Tobago affairs. We were tossed by the wayside. It's as though we were stripped, we were disregarded, we were punished for exercising our constitutional right. It is there in Section 4 of our Constitution. You have the right to join political parties and to express political views. Is your right. Nobody can take that away from you. The Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is the supreme law of this land. Tell them that. It is the supreme law. And soon after, I joined the world of work. And we caught our Nenen first cousin, godfather, auntie as public officers working in Tobago. I was working at Works Division. And we had to report to the ministry, 123 Edward Street, Port of Spain. And people, I will never forget those days. We reported for work at 8 a.m. and we left work sometimes at 2 a.m. the following day or 3 a.m. the following day. Because every pay sheet, every voucher, every document for payment had to be taken to Trinidad. So we had to work long hours to ensure that an officer was on the first flight. Those days you had about 2 flights between the islands. So an officer had to be on the first flight to go to Trinidad with all our payment vouchers to ensure that the checks were done and brought back so that we could be paid here. Persons like myself worked for almost 10 months without salary because you had to depend on getting your approvals through works to the Service Commission and so on. I could never forget those days. And it was pressure until the establishment or the creation of the Tobago House of Assembly. And that in itself had its own pressure, its own torture, its own restrictions from the central government. So when they want to tell you, ensure that you vote so that your candidate could sit around the table. Yes, you're voting for a candidate that would sit around the table, but that candidate comes from within the belly of the PDP. That candidate will come from within the belly of the PDP, nowhere else. You can't hold us to ransom as a people. The resources of the state belong to all of us, and no 6 people must talk to us as they think they can. They must not look upon us as though, as we say a long time, floor cloth. We ain't taking that. So we fixing that on December 6th. We fixing that. PDP! So when they want to say to us, don't let the bull interfere with what? the Balizé, the Bolife will get the Balizé out of our sight. It will get it out of our sight. We are a people. Tobagonians are bright. We are smart. We are intelligent human beings. We know what it is to think. And at no time must we surrender our right, our constitutional right, our inherent right to express opinions and views. We must not surrender, as the song says, "Me nah surrender, oh." We must not surrender as Tobagonians. Tobagonians, we fixing many things on December 6th, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Remember the symbol. It is the bamboo bolifi.
PDP!
Now, in Plymouth, we talk about Team Double Dose. The sitting assemblyman for Plymouth Golden Lane and the candidate for Plymouth Blackrock. Well, Plymouth Golden Lane is now Bethesda Lakoto, and there is now Plymouth Blackrock. But they're from Barrick. They're from Plymouth. There is we people. So Plymouth Blackrock, big up your own. Welcome, Zorisha Amina Hackett.
PDP, we voting. PDP, we voting. PDP, 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 voting. PDP, we voting. PDP, we voting. PDP, PDP.
Spartans, good night. Plymouth Blackrock, good night.
PDP.
My Barrick brother, good night. I don't know, I kind of feeling a kind of bittersweet. You know, like you're happy about something, but you're kind of... When the EBC announced these boundaries sometime in September, was it? And I looked at the division, because never in my wildest imagination I would think Bethesda would ever be separated from Plymouth. I mean, that's unheard of. But when I saw that, I didn't know how to feel. I was like, how? You know? And I did some research. And when I looked at the first installation of the Tobago House of Assembly, I realized that these seats were reverted to what they were then. It was called Lakoto Golden Lane, but it included polling station 4960, which is Bethesda. And it was called Plymouth Wim, but it included all the polling stations that are now under Plymouth Blackrock. And so I was like, well, this isn't new. But the reason I felt a bittersweet feeling is because when I talk about Bethesda, I'm talking about Plymouth. They are inextricably linked. It's like saying Culloden without Golden Lane or Egypt without Bethel. You know, so I felt this was going to be something different for me. But in that same moment, I was like, but Z, it's not that difficult, you know. Right on your side is the perfect candidate for the Plymouth Blackrock district. I didn't even have to think about it twice. I just had to try to convince him. Because if you know, my brother is such a humble being. So humble. And I can show you that humility just in the way I approached the politics. He was one of the first persons I went to. Because as you know, in 2017, Niall George would have represented Plymouth Golden Lane for the Tobago Forwards. And at that point in time, I was caught in a web. There was Curtis Douglas for the PDP. There was Marisha Osman for the PNM, someone I consider my big sister, all politics aside, person who encouraged me to get into the profession of teaching, and the respect and love will always be there. And then there was Niall George, my classmate, you know? And that election was a difficult election for a lot of Tobagonians. But the PNM got away with something that year. And that is what happens when we are divided as a people. I walk to some homes, and when they see Niall with me, they're like, listen, such a good soul. But we were so torn in 2017. Some houses split their votes, forwards one way, PDP the other way. And that was the demise of us in 2017. Did I lie? That is what happened. And so in 2021, January, Tobago was poised at a place where you had one dominant force, Tobago versus the PNM. And you all realize what happens when we unify? The same creep they're talking about, from 2 to 6, just like that, coming out of a 2020 general defeat, right? And for us to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and face the polls with no money. My billboards in Plymouth went up the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before election. Till people ask me, girl, where you bothering for? And I said, well, they done print already. What we got to cover both with them? The Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, my opponent passing and seeing me struggling to pop a billboard the Saturday before election. And if you see how me better, is that people proud to put up their billboard. But we had no money, Tobago, just as we have no money now. And we faced that election with heart. With heart. And you see that brother I have over there, black on top and gray below? Since high school, he gray in there. But you see that brother I have? I said it already and I'm going to say it again. There were some days I could not make it. Some days I was like, are Tobagonians really ready for this type of representation? Are they ready for this change? Is it going to be worth it in the end? And you see that Barrick boy, the days I could not make it, he is the person who pushed me forward. I could cry tonight. Because when I think about the fact that he dusted himself off, he took off the blue and put on the black for me. And in the areas I was unable to infiltrate, he stood in the gap for me. And so tonight, standing up here is so surreal because now I'm returning the favor, you know? And Niall, if you make me cry tonight, eh? And when I think about the connection we have, and you know, I've been joking about it, calling us Team Double Dose, and from the first day we walked on that ground, we walked together, and every now and again we join our canvassing teams together and we walk that ground. It is a symbol of the connection between Bethesda and Plymouth. A clear, apparent symbol, inextricably linked. And so we've been doing everything together. Everything we've done together. And you're going to see some more of it very soon. But we've been doing everything together. I was thinking about the issue we have with the jetty in Plymouth. And one of the first things I told Niall was, we have to go and face those fishermen together. I have to go and let them know, listen, this isn't a scenario where I'm saying, bye, well, you know, up the road now, Niall down here, so, no. I had to go and recommit to them that everything we agreed to do together in Plymouth will continue. You're going to have 2 area representatives now. 2 for the price of 1. And so I had a very long conversation with Mr. Francis Gillette again today. And for those of you who don't know who Francis Gillette is, he's the person who would have leased that waterfront property there in Plymouth. And he would have recommitted his support, his love for village, and the assurance that we are going to use the PPP model to ensure that the fishermen in Plymouth finally get their just dues when it comes to that jetty. PDP! When I hear the story of that jetty, it just reaffirms how failed and failing and continuing of the failures of the People's National Movement. When you hear how this man was treated, and you know they love to pass off the blame, and of course there are three sides to a story. But being the investigative person I am, I would have brought Mr. Gillette to Tobago, bought a plane ticket and told him, listen, I have been hearing stories of this jetty ever since I saw it being built. I want to hear why. Why is this jetty in this state? Since its commencement, since it was built in 1992. And I brought him up to speak to the fishermen personally. And when you hear that story of Mr. London saying you have a fake lease and don't do anything else here, and you know the court orders back and forth, and the man wants to do something there, he can't even remove it, he can't even demolish it, and the fishermen are the ones feeling the bite, feeling the pinch. Just because we have leaders who can't communicate well. And that has always been the way they've done business on this island. You have given someone a lease. Honor that agreement. Give the man the opportunity to either rebuild it, to remove it, to replace it. But it's there. And who is feeling it? The fishermen. And when you think of the fact that we had an area representative from Plymouth Golden Lane who was in charge of the division, right, that deals with fisheries, it's a crying shame. Nobody ever took time to bring that man to Plymouth and really hear the true story until I did. And I am saying tonight, Plymouth, Blackrock, because the sea belongs to you as well, and the environs. You have to look for a representative who doesn't have to sit in governance to communicate with the people who can make a difference in your lives. $300 is all it took, a return ticket from Piaco. I met him at the airport, and he spent an entire day with the fishermen. And he spent other days with me for us to go through the paperwork, see what the original lease looked like, what his plans were for that marina, the tongue and country planning approvals he had, who were the persons who approved it, all for one man to come and say, listen, you have a fake lease. And when you look at the signatories on that lease, when you look at the persons who would have given him the permission on that, we got to deal with that next night. I find I must come up here with things in my hand. Me and just talking things just so. Right? So I am going to come up here with, you know, when we talk, the thing we bluff it. Let me come with thing in my hand now. Right. It's not about that tonight. But the point I'm trying to make is, we've had a PNM administration on this island for 21 years. And everything that is failing right now is their fault. Everything. And that is why when I see brand new people coming out, trying to prove a point with a claim that they are going to be different, I shake my head. You could have all the ambition in the world, all the ideas in the world. You can be persistent, you could be purpose-driven. That political party does something to you. It's the crusher of dreams. And so I would never have to call out my opponent or anybody else who's coming out of that political organization. Your political organization will fail you. Yeah. Right? So I pity them. Because the political will cannot be sought on that side. On this side, we have the ability through your mandate, the ability through your guidance and your support. It's new and we're dreaming big on this side. And you have to ensure we never become the machine that is the PNM. The brainless, heartless machine that is the People's National Movement. We have to keep that fire burning in us, PDP. And never forget how hard we struggled for this victory. That will come on December 6th. Because it is written. It will come. And so tonight, my brother, I want you on this platform with me, or social distancing would prevent that. I'm not sure. But you could come with your mask. Come. We have to do this together, Niall. Niall, we have to do this together. And the district is more than Plymouth. It is. But I want us to show this district that they have 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. Niall was my field officer for 11 months. And let me tell you the kind of man we have here talking in business tonight. When Niall submitted his nomination, he came to me. Miss Sackett, I want to be able to go on that ground. This seat is so big. Let me tell you, this seat starts, Baines, you give up some of your seat. Abby, you give up some of yours, and I give up some of mine. It's a huge seat. Whatever Blackrock, Wim Spring Garden was, Plymouth Blackrock now is. It's crazy. Bethel, Prospect, Mount Irving, Blackrock, Plymouth, Wim, all Back Hill, Orange Hill, Fairbanks. Are leaving out anything? A big. But let me tell you, he came to me and he said, I want to be able to go on the ground and I want to be honest. I am going to submit my resignation as your field officer because I don't want to be in here and out there at the same time. Somebody else could have said, you see me, let me just sneak in a little canvassing in a little hour here and come back and be she field officer. Submitted. Losing a salary when other persons would have stayed right there, make the money, canvass, do what they want. And that is the kind of honest man you want as your area representative. Plymouth Blackrock. It's 1 month. It was 1 month. We could have worked something out. He could have come and said, Miss Sackett, here what? So I'll work till 4. No. He wanted to reach the people on the ground, and he didn't want to be dishonest with his time at my office. So he submitted his resignation. That's your son in the audience here? Listen to me. Honest, humble, hardworking. This is my brother. And we're going to go on the ground again next week. And I'm going to stay at his side throughout this journey, just as he was at my side throughout mine. PDP! And I don't care how much money those on the other side spending. I don't care how much block they big up and bless up. I don't care how much punching and the green thing by. I don't care how much you are getting from them. You see this man here? You see this man? He don't have much to give now, but trust me. What you are going to get from him after the 6th of December, money cannot buy. Money can't buy. And so as we approach the next week, I want you to become sober Plymouth Blackrock. Take everything they're giving you. It's all to you anyway. Take it. But on the 6th of December, between the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., when you go into those polling stations in Blackrock Government Primary School, Montgomery Government Primary School, Plymouth Anglican Primary School, Wim Anglican Primary School, are leaving out anywhere else? I'm trying to think of the right. George, Niall, Bamboo Bolife, X. George, Niall, Bamboo Bolife, X. That's it. He's going to be the middle name, eh? 3 names will be there, he'll be the middle name. I wonder if I like that middle position, boy. But he's going to be the middle name. Just look for this, you see? We're wearing it now. We want y'all to start observing, noticing it, seeing it in your face, sleeping, waking up. Bamboo Bolife. Bolife, 3 hands, bamboo frame, the symbol. And for those in Plymouth who are a bit confused because the boundary is there by the gray area and you're wondering where you voted in January is where you're going to vote now, eh? But just in case, all you're looking for is this symbol. PDP! And I want that to be the message across the island. When you're going your polling stations, wherever they may be, from Charlottesville to Crown Point, all you are looking for is the bamboo bulife. A vote for Niall George is a vote for me, is a vote for Abby, is a vote for Megan, is a vote for Faith, is a vote for Natisha, is a vote for Trevor, is a vote for Wasp, for Nutsy, for Tetos, for Whitey, for Watson, for Terry, for Sonny, and for Farley. Chavez. You hear what I said, Chavez? Farley, Chavez, Augustine. Tobago, it's all about Niall George tonight. It's all about Niall George tonight. And are you going to introduce him? Thank you for having... Mommy Sertika say yes. Thank you for having me. Stay sober, stay focused, and let me fix this. Thank you.
PDP, we vote then. PDP, we vote then. PDP, PDP, vote then. PDP.
Thank you, Zarisha Amina Hackett, candidate Bethesda Laker 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Spartans all. The sole child for his mother, Pearl Almond George, and the second for his father, Jules George. Niall was always a passionate and enthusiastic child. He grew up in Plymouth and attained most of his education in neighboring villages because of his mother's professional life. He started off kindergarten at the Dorothy Moses Nursery School in Lambeau, then to Signal Hill Primary School, where he passed for his first choice Bishop's High School. He achieved certificates at both ordinary and advanced level. He was employed at the Water and Sewerage Authority, WASA, as a process plant operator for a number of years. While juggling his professional life and being the involved father he is, Niall chose to further his studies at the tertiary level in civil engineering. His passion, courage, determination, and humbleness, humility, are the attributes that make Niall George the ideal candidate to become the voice for the community of the electoral district of Plymouth, Blackrock, and environs. Spartans. Spartans. It is not simple as that. And tonight again, I'm going to take liberty. I hope the wind can take my voice all the way across the hills and valleys to Lucyvale in Speyside. He's part of that. One half of him comes from there. And I want the wind again to take my voice out in this area, the Canaan Bonaccord area. We are not a part of his ancestry lies. And I'm asking Speyside, and I'm asking Canaan, and I'm asking Bonaccord to join Plymouth, where the whole Nile is. But let us do a little bit more. Go with me. Polling division 4955-1. This is the energy, the vibe that is going to lead off from Plymouth at 6 a.m. on the 6th of December. Pastor Baines, the energy, the vibe. Polling station 4951. And I'm saying to you at Plymouth, those of you who vote at 4955, station 1, the energy and the vibe that you are going to go to the polling station with at 6 a.m. will not dissipate. I want you to leave Plymouth Anglican School and take Bay Hill. Take the sand, as we say, take Bay Sand on Corland Bay. Run with the energy and the vibe. Blackrock awaits you. And Blackrock and you will take that vibe and the energy to Present Prospect. You're going to continue to Mount Irving and you're going to make your way into Church Street. You're going to make your way to Boko Junction with Force Day. $49.55, it's your turn now. 6 a.m., the same energy. You must feel it in your bones. You must know that this is your child, Plymouth. And you want your child to be successful and the best. So you're going to go in the opposite direction. You're going to take it to Bridge. When you get to Bridge, you're not going down to Black Rock, you're going up Bad Hill. Larry Paul can't beat Niall going up Bad Hill. He Larry Paul cannot beat Niall going up Bad Hill. He must pant for breath and wait down by Bridge and watch Niall going up Bad Hill. Run, Niall, run. We're not saying run, Forest, run. We're saying run, Niall, run. Run. Mary's Hill waits for you. Philadelphia waits for you. Dunvegan Road, Wim, Union. We're going to catch Google Patch. We're going to take Providence Road. We're going to go through Orange Hill and we're going to meet 4955 by Moon. And we are going to form a full circle and bring Niall home. Plymouth, Blackrock, I present to you Niall, Akil, Jahi, George, your candidate.
We're voting for PDP, black and we bro. PDP. We're voting for PDP. This is a black hole. We're voting for PDP. PDP, black and pro. No weapon form against you. So higher than an eagle. 10,000 falling at your left. 10,000.
Good night. I'd like to take time to acknowledge the political leader, Sir Watson Duke, Deputy Political Leader, Alicia Roberts Patterson, Deputy Political Leader, Faith B. Israel, Deputy Political Leader and Leader of the THA team, Brother Farley Chavez Augustine. PDP! Well, I'm smiling tonight, because I know those on the other side have been listening. Because on Sunday night, I spoke about people who paid their hard-earned dollars for lots of land in Corland and had not received their deeds. And on Tuesday, they started calling them for such. So that is performance without even being in office. Now, the speakers before me could explain to you. I have been here 3 times already, and that is because you speak with an adjoining candidate. I have 6 of such. So the canvassing, hard and fast. But I just enjoy that. I like to talk, I like to meet people, and I like to represent people. So it's fun. But getting to these people is proving to be a problem. A huge problem. I have a little old caddy, and I hear noises in parts I never believe could I make noises. Neglect is rampant. And from Roselle to Mary's Hill, from Mary's Hill to Philadelphia, from Philadelphia through Union Trace, everybody's concern is road. So I could see myself being the secretary of road. Because within my district alone, I have never seen things like this before. People, ambulance services cannot even access people. And that ain't good enough. But PDP speaks of a 10 million constituency fund. And major projects may be above this, but minor projects can certainly be dealt with in this area. So Sister Abby was up here tonight, and to the people of Mary's Hill, I am saying to you, the plans for the field, they have been handed to me.
PDP!
The baton has been handed to me. And I'm saying to you, under PDP administration, this project will be completed. Now, we're talking about the district now because it's vast. And we're talking about the sports people. We're talking about Stokely Vale Football Club. We're talking about Blackrock United, Tafari before that, basketball, football. We're talking about sports in general. And we are talking about facilities. And we are talking about making major upgrades to these facilities. We are talking about having gyms in these facilities. Because gone are the days where you're beating your children to come inside. You have to beat them to go outside. Because I ain't know about no lawyer or no doctor who making 500,000 pounds in a week. We have to balance this. We have to be able to encourage them to be sportsmen as well as academic scholars. So we are in academia now. Plymouth Blackrock, you are going to become an extension of the former Plymouth Golden Lane. We have an academic enhancement program, and I'm championed by Ms. Zia Hackett. And I'm here to say tonight that this will be expanded across the breadth and length of Plymouth Blackrock. Now, folks, I never took time to really explain this seat. The name might be Plymouth Blackrock, but it is a lot more than that. And when I say a lot more than that, I'm saying a lot slightly. Because we have Plymouth, we have Blackrock, we have Bard Hill, we have Mary's Hill, we have Wim, we have Union, we have Fairbanks, we have Mountie, we have Orange Hill Road, we have Pleasant Prospect, we have Mount Irving, and we have a bit of Pastor Baines territory in Church Street, Bethel. Yes, it is the Farley seat in the west. The geography is large. So folks, we have our work cut out for us. When we speak of health, we have three health centers in this region, which we would like to turn into wellness centers. That is what the mandate speaks of, and that is what we will implement under the PDP. Folks, I had to talk from my heart again. Since I know myself, I am never one of war, but I'm not taking a step back when threatened. We have a goodly Prime Minister that has come to Tobago. Disrespect left, right, and center. Or else what? Tobagonians ain't afraid nobody. And to let you understand, we have Act 40 of 1996 to back us up. So if you don't want to do it by ease, you're going to do it by force. Now, we talk of plans, and we talk of pies in the sky. But the major plan of the PDP is proper representation. Honest representation. Stringent management of your monies. And all of the plans that we have laid out will become possible. Another major issue in my constituents. It is considered by many as youth delinquency. It is considered by me as failure to serve the youth of our community. Now, Brother Farley has spoken about the two-tier education system. And I am a firm believer in that education system. I am saying that we need to bring the education to the youth. Skill-wise, we must use these community centers that are becoming relics. We must utilize them. people that cannot make it in traditional academia are being considered as lazy, waste of time. But what we do not understand is a failure to invest in their education is allowing them to go to the college of crime. And that college is free, free of charge. So we need to make every avenue available to get our young people up to speed. Now again they're going to say, where are we going to get this money from? And these things just make me smile. Because I have to see, if we could build a cultural complex that gives us naturally nothing in return of our investment for $1 billion under stringent management, I am sure that the initial cost was $200 and something million. So that would leave us at around $700 million to complete other projects. Plymouth BlackRock, I am here to tell you, I am here to serve you. I am here to be the middleman of the constituency. I am here to carry your issues forward. I have been on the trail for the last 3 weeks. It is a hard trail, but I am saying to you that I believe my rewards will be great on the 6th of December. I also believe that your rewards will be greater after the 6th of December. I am here to work. I am here to work. I am here to serve you. I am here to be part of a dynamic team that will lead Tobago forward. So again I say, a vote for Niall George in Plymouth BlackRock is a vote for Farley Chavez Augustine as your Chief Secretary.
PDP!
I am no stranger to serving people. I have done it in my constituency without notice. You want anything done? Check Niall. You want to sign up for your gratuity? Check Niall. You want a letter done to go to the credit union? Check Niall. And these things are things that have been done with no resources behind me. I am saying to you, give me the opportunity to be your servant leader on the 6th of December. Now, in 2017, I did this. And I can say to you that most of the problems that were there then are there now. And we have a set of people on the other side telling you to protect your future. Who are you to protect your future from? Who are you to protect your future from? I am saying to you, give the PDP the opportunity, not a chance, there's no chance on this side. It's an opportunity to take Tobago forward with innovative leadership like that of my colleague, Farley Chavez Augustine. The sky is the limit. I stand here almost tearful at the greeting that Sister Zarisha Hackett has given to me. And I'm saying again, it is double dose in full effect. It will be double dose in full effect. To the outlying regions, I am saying, the same attitude that we deal with Plymouth Golden Lane, it is that which you will be receiving after December the 6th. I know my energy might be failing, but it's from all them walking are doing. So all you forgive me. So all you forgive me. What I do know is that come the 6th of December, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm asking each and every one of us to band together. Come together as one. Make Tobago the priority, and let me fix this. Tobago, good night.
PDP, we're voting for PDP. Black and we broke. PDP, we're voting for PDP. This is a black PDP.
Plymouth BlackRock, you have heard your candidate It's not just mere words. Proven, competent, willing, humble. Man from yard who has not confined himself over the years to just the community of Plymouth proper, but he is known throughout the electoral district. Make your X count. There is a lot to be fixed in Plymouth Blackrock. There is a lot. Now I'll talk about him being the secretary for road. My God. It's amazing. But I don't hold, probably, they wouldn't think about Plymouth between now and December 5th. With the amount of bitumen trucks you see parked along the place. Because when you look at the electoral district of Bukomong Pleasant, it's the worst on the island. And if the chief secretary is the assemblyman for that area, Plymouth take your grind until December 7th. And we will fix things. To our young people, hold on. To our elderly, hold on. Tobago, it's easy to say you're tired, you're election weary, I know. You're tired, as the song says, the same thing over and over and over. And you're singing like the other Calypsonian, what wrong with me? Am I ugly or what? Right? You're weary. But I want you to sing that old spiritual. I never get weary yet. I never get weary yet. Tobago, don't get weary on me before 6 p.m. on December 6th. Every time you feel your strength failing and you're tired, you go to the hospital. The imaging machines are not working. You're there for long hours, no medication. You have lost your job in this pandemic season. The landlord is evicting you. The woes of life is upon you, and there is no help, no hope from the other side. Tell yourself, hum 2 bars, I never get weary yet. I never get weary yet. There is hope from 6 p.m. And when you go to the polls, when you put your X, think about the poor health care and jam the X in. Think about the poor educational system your children have to face with. Jam the X. When you think every time you can't go down in a pothole, jam the X. Every time you think that you are poor and you're needy and the food card flying elsewhere because you are perceived to be of a certain other color, certain other political loyalty, jam it. Put it right up inside. Let the PNM feel the weight of the collective Tobago disgust of the PNM. Let them feel the weight when the votes are counted at 6 p.m. or 1 minute past 6 on December 6th. Let them wait with bated breath in agony because as Tobagonians we are saying, no more. Happy riddance. Watch the creep. 2 to 6. Full gallop. Beyond 6. No longer creep. Tobago. We're fixing Tobago. We are going to fix this land on December 6th. Don't worry about whatever is being peddled. Don't worry about whatever is being peddled. You're going to tell me the PNM going to have us on our backs for 21 years. They're going to crush our faces into the ground for 21 years and want to tell me all I am worth is a $400 food card. That is all I am worth? Is that all I am worth as a Tobagonian? Is that all? A last-minute paving project by the time 2 trucks pass next week. It's done with. No. We are worth more than that as a people, and stand up, Tobago, for what you are worth. And remember, we're fixing Tobago December 6th. Brothers and sisters, Pastor Baines talked tonight about the other side getting very personal. They think they can hurt you. I had the mention of my name a few weeks ago. But my mother always says, when somebody come at you with a catapult, you don't respond with a catapult, you get your gun. You get out your heavy artillery. You don't use the same slight weaponry as they. So time will tell with that one. And we have seen the denigration of us on this side. Last night, we are told, Farley, Chavez, Augustine. Forget this Farley, forget the Augustine, and concentrate on the Chavez. Concentrate on the Chavez, imputing reign of terror by people who carry such name. But, brothers and sisters, Spartans, Tobago, Trinidad, worldwide, those in the diaspora, wherever you are, tonight I present to you Brother Farley Chavez Augustine, Assemblyman.
But I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life terribly imbalanced. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise. This torment and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek must understand.
PDP family, good night. Tobago, good night. How you feeling, Tobago? Just a few more days and we will get there. They say, I'll come to that. Tonight I want to start by acknowledging our leader, Comrade Watson Duke, my fellow deputies, Comrades Dr. B. Israel and Robert Patterson, and all members of the executive of the party, all the candidates. I want to early on this evening acknowledge two local businesses on the island. I know they're not sponsoring the PDP broadcast. But last night I indicated to you that I was having some problems with the throat. And a member of my district, I went home and I remember that a member of my district gave me a nice package with some teas. One called Breathe Tea and the other called Immunity. As our sister Waveney Dillon gave me those teas. All kind of bush in these teas that she has selling. And I will post it online so that you can check her too. And the tea work. Me and no bush inside of it, but it work. So let me start by saying thank you. And that's how they are in Palativale, Lansom, Speyside. My district people takes good care of me. Anytime I walk around, I have to come back home with, when it's not breadfruit, it's mango. When it's not mango, it's sugar cane. It's somebody baking something. It's some jacks for free. That is how we live in Palativale, Lansom, Speyside. So let's put our hands together and big up the residents of Palativale, Lansom, Speyside. And thank you, Sister Waveney Dillon from out of Charlottesville, for supplying me with those teas that come in handy. And sometime last night when I get home, these days I don't have a lot of time to to check all the tags and comments on Facebook. But one tag stood out to me, Pastor, and I'm calling your name purposefully. And a young lady tagged me and said, she showed a screenshot of the PDP live, 900 and something views. Screenshot of another live where they're struggling to find people to watch them or listen. And she said, Farley, give a plug for my business now. Give me a shout out for my business. Well, you know, in this season, you're happy to oblige easily to every request. So Farley, without even knowing what the business was about, said, yeah, no problem, I could give you a shout out. Because at the end of the day, from this platform, we celebrate young entrepreneurs and people, young people especially, who are willing to have their own business and branch out on their own. In fact, that is what we want. We want that, and I've been saying it from the platform every night, we want a THA that supports the businesses on this island, the private sector, so that we can have a robust private sector, so that we have people who can actually earn real money. And so when this young girl told me, well, requested that I give her business a shout out, I said, sure, no problem. And then afterwards, I look at what the business is. So Pastor Baines, you are a married man, and I'm recommending that you check out this business as well. It might assist you as a married man in your love life and love relationship. The name of the business is Shannon's Secrets 868. And that is SHANNONSECRETS 868. You can go on Facebook and look for Shannon's Secrets 868, Pastor Baines. And all of you married folks here tonight, spice up the relationship by checking out Shannon Secrets 868. Right? That's enough information from the platform. And maybe I need to drink some water for that one. But tonight, I wish to start by reiterating what my name is. My name is Farley Chavez Augustine. And I am proud of the name that my mother gave to me. In fact, on the 19th of April, 1985, an unmarried woman, 6 months pregnant, looking at her parents' old black and white Zenith television, saw a boxing match between one Julio Cesar Chavez and Ruben Castillo. And that night she felt inspired to adopt as a name for the child to come Chavez. In fact, she said to me before she passed that she did not know at the time whether the child was boy or girl. But she knew that the child she wanted to bring forth in this world must have that fighter spirit of Julio Cesar Chavez. And she looked at this race and, you know, when she told me the story, I went and I had looked for it. So if it's one person who always knew what his name meant, was me. And as I look at this race, this fight, it was a World Boxing Championship title, 130-pound title. And the challenger, Ruben Castillo, was on his 70th fight. And he had won 64 wins under his belt. And Chavez had to defend his title against Ruben Castillo. This fight took place someplace in California. But there was something unique about this Mexican Chavez, fighting in America against a famed American boxer. This Chavez understood how to apply crazy pressure. This Chavez understood what it meant to have stamina. I'm going somewhere with this. This Chavez fought in this fight. And by the end of the night, Ruben Castillo, the challenger, ended up with 2 broken ribs, a broken jaw, 15 stitches on his left eye. So when they tell you focus on the Chavez, let them know that you're focusing on a fighter, on somebody who will fight on your behalf, on somebody who doesn't lose fights easily, somebody who punches above his weight. Because I lose plenty weight in this election, but it doesn't mean that I can't punch hard. Somebody who understands how to apply crazy pressure. And that's why they come to you every night and talk craziness. Because they're under pressure. You have to be patient with them. Someone who understands what stamina is. And so we understand what it is to take little and live long. To win but not win at the same time. To be patient. To be able to say, look, the thing draw up, it tie up. You go ahead. You take win. I will come after. Patience. And for many people, many of you who have been Googling the name Chavez, you get to realize that it is the 22nd most popular Hispanic surname within Latin America. So if the goodly lady had just Googled, she will understand that there isn't anything nefarious about the name. Again, if she had Googled, she will understand that the name Chavez means in Spanish, originated from the Portuguese, it means keys. And if she understood what that meant, she will know that the keys to reopening Tobago, to the people of Tobago, is in the hands of this Chavez Agustin. And so, I understand what she attempted to do. She tried to perhaps draw comparisons with Hugo Chavez. But anybody with Google and access to Google will know that Chavez entered mainstream politics in the 90s and became president in the late 19s. By that time, I was already in secondary school. So clearly the inspiration for my name couldn't have come from Hugo Chavez. But you see, that might just be the definition of fully dance. And an inability to look and read and research and draw proper comparisons. And a simple Google could have unearthed that perhaps the influence would have come from a boxer. Because to be born in 1985 is to not know anything about Hugo Chavez. But my mother certainly knew of Julio Cesar Chavez. And so I am happy for the name I was given. An aunt called me a short while ago and she said, tell them, don't draw no insinuations against me, dead sister, please. And I don't want you to get hung up on a name. And while names are important, because as Shakespeare says, he who steals my purse steals trash, but he who steals my name steals practically everything. And I will defend my good name and defend my parents' decision to name me that. And I stand here today, Tobago, because I am purposefully walking in my purpose to lead you down a pathway that will result in greater development, that will result in the kind of political revolution you have never seen before, that will result in actual development for the people of Tobago. That's where I want us to go, Tobago. And so tonight, I warned you 2 or 3 nights ago, don't get distracted by their distractions. Clearly, the platform is coming up empty. While I was talking to the contracted employees, they're busy talking about my name. What are your plans for the contracted employees? How it is you only now know you want to give land to farmers when they're begging a long time? What are your real plans for housing and land distribution when in 21 years you could not distribute more than 11 homes on average per year? How the hell you plan to give out 2,000 lots or 2,000 homes? How? When your track record speaks for itself. And that's why I tell you in this election, Tobago, you cannot afford to be distracted with the nonsense. You cannot afford to be taken away with things that are of no use and little import to you. This election is about bread and butter issues. This election is about a group of people who only know it's time to bring a food card for you when it's election time. Right now they're busy up and down. All people who are not members of the THA have food cards in their back pocket to give away. They're busy up and down. You can't get work all the time. But all of a sudden, they're trying to bring people together to form work gangs to get them work. All of a sudden. Remember what happened in the election of August 2020? Open up reforestation programs in the country. After 2 weeks, they shut down the program and sent everybody back home. And they had to beg for the money for Christmas, the 2 weeks' money. That's how they operate. That's the same group of people. As soon as they came into office, they sent home all the Tobagonians working inside MTD just because they feel they were of a different political persuasion. They shut it down and sent home all of them. These are the same group of people who shut down the reforestation program coming out of the central government in Trinidad. It are people from Shallaville and Speyside and elsewhere who are part of that program and all now they can't catch the bearings. These are the same group of people who tell you we ain't going to send up nobody in Petrotrin. And as soon as they get in office, they shut down the whole damn company. And I'm saying to you tonight, Tobago, if you are not careful, you will be fooled. You will be tricked. And I already told you in the last election who is the tricky leader. I told you that. Be wise and don't be fooled. Because in this election, we have to focus on how we develop our community. And that's where I want to start tonight. Because you heard Mr. Duke talking about providing funding for communities. And people start to say, but what's the use of that? Well, they start to say, what's the use of that? What's the use of the THA if you're going to give communities access to funding? And I want to tell you the usefulness of that. Because one, if we provide funding for every community, every district, it means that whether after December 6, your district ends up as PNM or PDP, your district will have access to resources to do what your district needs to do. We have to end the politics of winners take all and ensure that the winners take care of all. That's the politics. That's the kind of politics Chavez will preach. Because too often, those of us who are on the other side had to beg and struggle and make noise. Why in 2021 I have to stand up on a jetty in Palatavie to make noise to fix a jetty that break down since Mrs. Davison Celestine was the area rep many, many years ago? Why? Why in 2021 I had to go across the Little Tobago and make noise and carry camera and carry media to make noise to fix a jetty that since about 2003 you're promising the people you will fix? Why? Why? Why it is in 2021 we still have to make noise for a zip line that we should have get since 2016? Long before I even thought about coming into politics, we should have get it. Why? Why do we have to make so much noise when we are in opposition to try to get a little thing happen for our area? All of a sudden you could see walls that will normally take years to build, building in the space of some weeks. Massive retaining walls, productivity like never before. And part of the problem is that they have taken you for granted. They don't respect you. As the lady from Roxburgh says, PNM disrespectful. And you have to understand how disrespectful they are. And you have to start to stand up for yourself and vote for real community development. So we have made it clear. We will make funds available to every district on this island. And Mr. Duke gave you the figure of $10 million. And I will add that that will be as funds are available. Because the truth is, we know the thieving and pilfering and doing all sort of madness. When we get there, we don't know what we will meet. But we have a vision of where we want to go. And where we want to go is to a place where every single district on this island can have access to at least $10 million. Where you could do the work yourself. Lend hand, community work. Out of that, you could decide what your community priorities are. And you could fix some of those simple issues. You could assist the old lady who need a little entrance to go to she house, who's slipping and sliding and at danger of fatally injuring herself on her path home. You could decide if out of that, the lady who house burned down, you could help. And as a community, we do it because we want to return Tobago to a place where the community works together for the benefit of all. That is the kind of community development we need. Not the kind of community development where we turn every village council into party groups, where we mash up all the community institutions with all sorts of divisive politics and nonsense. We have to get to a place where our communities are insulated from this kind of political divisiveness, where we support community development regardless. And I will say it now, if the best person to be a village council president is the man who is in charge of the PNM party group, I, Farley Chavez Augustine, will support him to be the president of the village council because he's the best man. It should have nothing to do with your politics. When it comes to community development, it should never be a case where winners take all. Instead, it should be a case where the winners take care of all. That's the kind of community development we have been preaching. And that's what we say we want to do for you. We want to create stronger villages. Because if we have to have a better Tobago, we have to have stronger villages. I've always referenced Castara and what happens in Castara. When I took over as area rep in Castara in 2017, within the first week, I was invited to a meeting with the Castara Tourism Development Association. And as I sat there and listened to their plans, I saw a community that knew what it wanted. This was a community that already had all the villas and guest house advertising online. They need no tourism agency in town to do it for them. They were doing it themselves. They were introducing to me in 2017 visitors who were coming to Castara for the 15th consecutive year. Imagine we have a community here where people show up 15 years in a row to the same place to take a vacation. Most of us, when we take vacations, we look for different areas to take the vacation. But that says something about the product. This was a community that had an FCB ATM. And the ATM only accepted local cards and not foreign bank cards. And no credit cards. And that organization lobbied FCB. And now the ATM in Castara accepting international cards, unlike the one in Shallaville. That's what happens when communities work in tandem with each other. When communities work for the benefit of all and not for the benefit of some. And that's why I say to you, when they come at this late stage, under 2 weeks to go before the election, to give you a food card that you needed since last year, to give you a hamper that you needed since 3 weeks ago, to give you something that you could not get, I wanted to take it and still vote them behind out of office. PDP. We will not be bribed for our votes. When PDP area reps were pitching in their money little to give people a loaf of bread, they walk around Tobago and say, all again is one dry bread, they ain't getting nothing with the bread. But you see, equal giving is not equal sacrifice. For those of us on the other side, that loaf of bread collectively cost us quite a bit. And that was sacrifice. For them on the other side, them who have access to the state coffers, they couldn't even give you proper hampers. They couldn't give you anything except now that we enter an election season. So see who made the real sacrifices when you were in need. And if you do the assessment, you will realize the PDP made the sacrifices for you. Because we believe in community development. We believe in your ability to develop yourself. We also told you that in our communities, we have to develop village safety networks. Some of our villages are not as safe as they used to be. Some of our communities, you can't walk there late in the night as you could have long time. And it's interesting, quite paradoxical, that some communities were safer when it did not have street lights than it is now with street lights. And so we have to begin to tackle that front on. We can't want to bring back tourism, and our communities are at risk for having criminal activity. We have to treat with that. I spoke to you earlier in this campaign about how we will treat with people in rehabilitation services. So our drug addicts, those hung up on drugs in the community, the little piper man, the young lady who have gone off the rockers, we will help rehabilitate you because there is some good in you, something we can fix in you. And when we say, let me fix this, we're not just talking box drain and retaining walls and roads. We're talking about fixing a population that has been mentally enslaved for 21 years. It has to be fixing people too. We are going to demand monthly village reports to come into the division of community development from these community institutions. We are going to return volunteerism to our community by encouraging volunteer work by community service teams. We now live on an island where you have to pay for every single thing you need. People meet me and say, Farley boy, long time in politics, we used to work for free. Work for free, not now. We spoil the market. People don't even want to volunteer. And let me make a plug for all my young professionals. Those of you who come home from studying and bright like bulb, and all you do is work and go home and lock yourself away, and when the place open, you might go a little 1-2 zest and go back home. You have a responsibility to give something back to your community. If your community subsidize your education all the way to tertiary level, you have to give back something. Volunteer with some group. It ain't gonna hurt you. Join some community institution. We have football groups struggling with management issues. When we have talented young individuals in the community, you may not be able to play football like me, but you might come with managerial experience and skills that you can assist your club with. Look at Sidees. In the last 7 to 10 years, we have been the most successful local club in Tobago. I am no big footballer, but I am the vice president of the club. How I reached there? Because I saw a club that needed somebody who will volunteer to help them with the management of issues, help them get their uniforms and the training equipment, and ensure that they are on time for matches and have transportation organized and so on. So I brought that to bear on the club. And I'm saying to you, young professionals, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to give something back to your community. We have to get back to encouraging volunteerism. We also said to you that as we develop communities, we don't just want to have these very sterile communities built up out of nowhere, where we just find piece of land and say, here, this is a new housing estate. Those have their use. But we have always advocated the need for village expansion. Many of our villages are in need of expansion, especially those in rural Tobago East, because far too many of our people are succumbing to the pull factors, the urban pull factors in Tobago, and are moving out of our country villages and are leaving these small communities devoid of human capital, much needed human capital. When I go to some communities and I ask, I said, who here could assist with keeping some after-school classes? 3 and 4 people. All the suggestions, the people and them already migrate out of the village, renting and living in town. And part of the reason for that is because we have not spent time focusing on village expansion. And that's why we have said people like that, places like Delaford, we're looking to acquire land so we can expand your community. You have Kingsby on one hand. You have lands going back behind the Catholic school, all the way back going to Louisdor. Village expansion. We spoke about that for places like Charlotteville. We have to open up those roads going up to the top of Bel Air, going around past Pirates Bay, so that we will have village expansion. So you can continue to live in your community and contribute. We don't want everybody to run from the community. And so is the case to those villages on the north side, like Lansomi and Bloody Bay and so on. You look at the living population, they are dwindling. And we have to keep the brightest and most talented minds in those communities. Tobago is not a big place. Nowhere too far to live. Nowhere in Tobago is too far to live. And even if you're working in town, nowhere is more than 1 hour away from where you're working in Scarborough. And so we have to find a way to expand our communities and keep our human resource within the community. We also said to you that when we are giving out grants, we will put an extra favor on family-run businesses. And I want to stick up in there tonight. Because when we're talking family-run businesses, we are talking about businesses where mommy, daddy, children, auntie, nephew, cousins, everybody part of the business model. I have found that some of our most successful and our most sustained businesses on the island are family-run enterprises. Many of them go through town. Look for the oldest businesses in town, and you could begin to call them by family name. Parkers, Abrahams, Lee Cox, Paul. Family-run businesses. Go to Gemma's where I live. Who you think running Gemma's? After she left working with Lau by Bird of Paradise Inn, before it was burned down in the Black Power movement, and then she went to Blue Waters Inn. After that, she came, got permission from Mr. Lau to set up her own business. She started off by having her children walking around selling pies on morning before going to Roxbury Sec to go to school. Go out by she restaurant today, you will see she there, she daughters there, she grandchildren there, great-grand there, cousin, niece, family-run business. It became an institution in the community. And so our favor when it comes to giving out of grants will be family-run businesses. Look at the big shots in Trinidad. Who you think running them? Then some sterile company is daddy and all his sons running the whole conglomerate. Sometimes they give each son one part of the business to run. That's how successful businesses run in the Caribbean. And we have to start to promote some of these successful businesses. I can't talk community development and not speak about the issue of transportation, because we have to get transportation right and public transportation right. In Tobago, in 2021, you could still stand up by the corner garden side street and wait for 2-3 hours before you could get one transport to go home. 2021. Compare that to Trinidad. As you step out, you get something. In fact, you could pick and choose. You could say, I don't want to go with you, your maxi too loud. And those who are hot girls like my sister Sertic are going to say, yeah, give me the one with the loud pongs. Are going on that. Pick and choose. And I understand how the economies of scale might have affected public transportation on the island. But it isn't that we cannot do better, because part of our security has to be public transportation. And if we want proper tourism, we need proper public transportation network. When we just came into office, the first thing I did in 2017 was to go down to PTSC. You know, they like to cut ribbon for everything. To stand up there alongside Jacob Grant to cut a ribbon for 2 Rosa buses. For 2 Rosa buses. Because at the time we were saying those big buses kind of dangerous going up into the deep countryside. After a year or so, the bus started, even a year, in under a year, the bus started to break down for brakes. You know your management poor when a transport breaking down for brakes, or for all things for brakes. And eventually we just stopped seeing them Rosa buses. I don't know where they're there. May know if somebody get it, park up by the house. I don't know if Trinidad take it back, but we just stopped seeing the Rosa buses. And then we have a situation where PTSC, you're waiting by the bus stop. And some years ago, somebody passed and see me there well, deck off in my suit, waiting to catch bus, and snap me, take out my picture. I don't know if that was supposed to, I don't know, shame me into getting a license. But I must say congratulations, you did a good job. But sometimes they're waiting on the bus to go home. No bus, no communication, nothing. And for some areas, if you don't get that last bus, you ain't getting nothing to go home. Crap or smoke your pipe, that is not fair. How do we expect to build our communities, especially communities way up on the margins, up on the rural areas, unless we treat with public transportation? We have to. And so we propose that we will fancy the public transportation a bit. We ain't going for them old school thing. We're fixing it properly. We said that we will abolish this bus ticket system. They say 1970 something when bus started to run. We're moving away from bus ticketing system, and we are going to begin to produce these cards that with the magnetic strip. When you go on the bus, they say ping, 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 and travel. We also said you'll be able to purchase your bus fare online. So if you don't feel to get a card in your hand, you could use your cell phone with the barcode, ping, 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 and travel. We also said to you we are going to connect the entire island with a mixture of publicly owned buses and privately owned buses. So we will help the private buses become part of the system so they can earn too, because it is not our intention to just bring new buses and bus out the private buses from the transportation network. They have to be part of the plan. We told you that we will add GPS trackers to our buses so that if you're going Lansome or you're going Charlottesville, you could actually see a nice ticker, electronic ticker running, telling you what time the next bus coming. So if the bus late, you know. If the bus cancel, you know in advance. And you have to stand up there waiting in the dark, hoping that the bus will actually come when the bus not coming. Simple GPS track on buses, it don't take much more than that. And somebody in a central command room sending out the feed almost automatically to the various bus stops. We also told you that we will connect our buses to our airport and our seaport so that you could come in and you don't have to try to tote your luggage and stand up and wonder how I get it home after I just come off the boat. And if you are a tourist, you could jump on a plane, fly to Tobago. You already buy your bus fare online and use your phone. Ping, ping, take a bus from the airport. You connect from here to there to the other. And next thing you know, you're in Englishman's Bay lolling off, Snapchatting, WhatsApping, tweeting, posting the next story, TikToking on the beach. And then from your phone app, you could look and see when the next bus passing out so you don't miss it. And you could get back to the airport on time to catch your flight. That's how you connect the buses to our tourism product and connect it to our communities. So our communities will see a lot more foot traffic. Many people would stay in rural communities if they know they have proper access in and out. That's a huge problem. And if it is we want to fix the congestion on our roads, we better fix public transportation now. So people don't feel they have to buy a new vehicle or even a second-hand vehicle. If you are confident that you can get adequate and neat and nice public transport, chances are you will take the public transport because it's cheaper. It's an $8 ticket from where I live in Speyside to town. If I catch private transport, it's $14. You see the difference? Almost double. Almost double. And if it is I catch transport from Speyside to Roxburgh and then from Roxburgh to town, then I have to pay almost $20 because of the series of short drops. Public transport is cheaper. And if it is we have a proper and an efficient public transport system, then our communities can be sustained. Business can be sustained. You feel sometimes you're in town and you feel like you go up the road and eat some jammers. And because you turn on Facebook and you see Pastor Baines lull off in front of his big plate of food. But when you think about having to go by Gardenside Road to wait and catch transport, by the time you reach up, jammers close. And the food don't sell out. And we have to integrate it well for our school children as well. Right now, there is a little vexing issue for me. Because I've told Tobagonians about how I got to school in the 90s. I have told Tobagonians that is maxi drivers like Shugi and Zico and Gary that carried me to school. I told Tobagonians the story of how I had to get up early in the morning, bathe with cold water and try to catch Shugi. And it's my neighbor to beg me mother and say, you're wicked. Boil some water on the stove and get the boy to bathe now. To catch Shugi to go to school. And right now, I still have parents complaining that the amount of buses available to the children are insufficient. They're insufficient. And not only that, we only have 4th form to 6th form in school. Imagine when the entire school system reopened. And then one half of the maxi taxi community have the THA in court. And the next half trying to cooperate. And on top of that, sometimes they work 3 months, 4 months, no pay. 3 months, 4 months, no pay. And it didn't matter who was there. Groom Duke, same thing. Whitney Alfred, same thing. Huey Cadet, same thing. Gary Melville, same thing. Kelvin Charles, same thing. Ananda Maslin, same thing. In other words, under the People's National Movement, you could not get efficient and proper public transport for your children to go to school. Maxi taxis had to beg and protest ever so often, shut down the system, embarrass them to get their money. Why? And what we propose is a system that will integrate all our maxi taxi drivers. And the last thing they're telling them is that once you pass 60 as a maxi taxi driver, you can't work for the THA. Well, I'm saying if that is your rule, come through the THA and all them old hen and old fowl they have working for the THA. Move them out too. Because they pass 60 years too. It can't be one rule for one and a next rule for a next group of people. That is unfair. It has to be the same rule for everybody. And if we are okay giving contracts to retirees, then we must be okay giving contracts to bus and maxi taxi drivers who pass the age of 62. Most of our maxi taxi drivers, that's all they do. They don't have no next work. Most of them, their entire life was around driving the maxi. There were children long before me who were catching Dingo D, Dave from Allen from Charlottesville, and catching Shuggy long before me. For years, these maxi men out here ensuring our young people get around this island safely. And then all of a sudden, they're too old to drive maxi now. And you don't have sufficient public transportation. And your public transportation network is not efficient. And I'm saying, without any fear of discrimination, if our rule is that once you're 60, you could no longer work for the THA, that rule must be applied across the board. But if we have other people who pass 60 and we're still employing them because they have skill sets that we need, because they have things to contribute, because we need some kind of succession planning, then we have to consider the maxi taxi drivers too and ensure the system keeps working for them. And they have to be part of it. Brother James told you about a new design for Scarborough and about the fact that we need a transportation hub. How long now the bus terminus smash up? How long now? Since in the 90s. It moved from people catching bus in town. One time you had to go over to Sangsters Hill to catch the bus because they were operating from a place right behind Port Mall there. Now we're just catching them by the side of the road. Little access to public toilet facilities. We need a transportation hub. Trinidad has City Gate. What Tobago has. And that is why when we only come up here to talk to Tobagonians and know who is Grunt and who is this and who is the other, ask him what he give Tobago. Ask him what he give Tobago, except for a set of Chinese people from China to come and build the airport and corrupt projects. What else has he given to us? Ask him that. Ask him if he cares so much about Tobago, why it is he is endorsing a team of people who have decimated the development on this island. And this same prime minister, I had to watch them, a bunch of them are hypocrites. He came around this island when he wanted to get rid of Kelvin Charles. Remember that? And he started talking about how come we ain't get no bus terminus in this day and age still. How come we build that monstrosity on the beach in Castara? And when he done bar talk, where he had to bar talk, he tell Kelvin sit down. And no, he can't tell Chavez to sit down. He could tell Tracy to sit down, but he can't tell Chavez to sit down. So on one breath when they wanted to get rid of a chief sec, you bar talk the underdevelopment of the island. And now, You want to promote a tricky one. You're coming to sweet talk Tobagonians and bad talk those of us with sense and with reasoning and critical thinking skills. And I say to you, Tobagonians, do not be afraid of them who are bad mouth in this election. You are independent minded. You ain't live home by Rowley and you ain't live by Tracy. You live by you. You paying your own bills. And when your cupboard empty and you have to pick bush and drink bush teas, you have to drink it. So don't let nobody tell you how to swing your vote. You swing your vote this way with the PDP. If you feel to swing it this way, don't let nobody attempt to victimize you. The Tobagonians I know are not spineless and boneless. How we get so afraid? Oh gosh, afraid. I wore the jersey, but to wear it after election. I don't want to talk, because if I talk too hard, somebody go hear me and I'm going to lose our work. I am saying you can't lose your work if all of we come out and vote.
PDP!
You're going to lose it if you stay home. Because you see their track record. They have a track record of firing people. They have a track record of month-to-month contracts. They have a track record of not treating workers well. They have a track record where you're still working on 2013 salaries in 2021. They have a track record where they negotiate any back pay for our daily rated workers for umpteen how long? All of you all who working and cleaning and sweeping the roads and who they have working overtime for a day off instead of overtime salaries. They don't care about you. They never negotiate for you to be paid properly and paid more. So don't follow that track record. Don't be blinded to that track record. You have to vote against that, Tobago. You have to stand up for yourself, Tobago. Don't let nobody come and scare you. Don't let them come and drown you out. Yes, they're going to try to drown you out with big truck and drown you out with red flag and drown you out with buntings all over the place and litter the place with posters all over. But that ain't persuading our vote. Our minds are already made up. We're black and we're proud.
PDP!
And we're voting PDP now. Because these issues I addressed tonight are far too simplistic. We shouldn't be having to address these from a political platform. In 2021, we still have to talk about an efficient bus service, still. And Act 40 of 1996, 5th schedule, gives the THA the legal authority to administrate over public transportation. We still have to be discussing this. We still have to be discussing village expansion. After 21 years, we have no systematic plan to expand villages to keep our talented minds in our villages. We still, in this day and age, have to explain on a platform that we're not going to turn village councils into party groups and that we have to support community institutions. Where did that culture come from? Where that culture, once upon a time in Tobago, it didn't matter which party you belong to. In fact, I could tell you, my parents supported Hotchoy Charles in that 2001 election when they first took licks from Orville, London. And my parents got nothing out of NAR. One of their complaints was actually that they found Hotchoy Charles was giving more to people who were not members of his party than people of his party. Why? Because the Tobago then was not about which party you belong to. It was about who is Tobagonian first and foremost. And once you're Tobagonian, you are deserving of services from your THA. Now we reach a place where you have to wear red to get a work. You have to wear red to get a food card. You have to wear red if you need a hamper. You have to wear red if you need a road fix. You have to get red if you need a retaining wall. Foolishness. I am telling you, all you have to do is be Tobagonian and PDP will take very good care of you.
PDP!
Just be Tobagonian. You are Tobagonian first. Your neighbor string and tie up in no balize. It's only snake that's been balize. Snake and water. And scorpion too. That is all that's been balize. And that's why I am happy to be the bearer of the bamboo bully faith tonight. And to lead this great team with the bamboo bully faith. Because I know I might cut down the tree and it catch back up. But when I burn it out, it have no catching back up to catch back up.
PDP!
This is the kind of social reform we're talking about. And yes, they will say this is socialist. They will try to align it with Hugo Chavez and do all sort of stuff. I know something just occurred to me. It is strange that it's okay for our Prime Minister to fly down to Venezuela and dance up with Hugo Chavez, boy Maduro, but I can't name Chavez. It is okay for our Prime Minister to recognize Hugo Chavez and see him as some great hero and leader, but I can't name Chavez. You see how they're hypocritical? And that's why I say to you, Tobago, tonight, we have these simple issues to fix. And that's why I'm confident that in 4 years, we can get a THA that performs and outperforms the 21 years of PNM in office. I am confident of that. I am confident we can develop an efficient and effective public transportation system. I am confident that we can develop THA-owned lands. We're boasting that we are the largest landholder. I am confident we can develop THA-owned lands so our people can get places to live. I am confident it will not take you 5 and 6 and 7 and 10 years to actually get the piece of land they give you. So the people who they had called donkey years ago to tell they're giving them piece of land in Belgarden. Some done gone and find other land and house already. Some must have done dead already. That's how long they take to give the people the lots, the service lots. How long should it really take us to provide some service lots? All the service lots have is water, lights access, telecommunication access, and road access. How long it taking you to do that? How long? Millions spent, and we can't even supply proper service lots. That's not even laziness. That is wickedness. That is mediocrity at its highest. And somebody who wants you to settle for less. Somebody wants to tell your pattern back and say, well, we ain't do so bad. Foolishness. We can do better than that. We have to do better than that. Because I'm tired seeing our people in Tobago ending up being treated as second-class and third-class citizens in their own country. I'm tired. It can't be that the only people who could come and build a hotel here must be those from the 1% in Trinidad. Want to we? Why we can't build hotels too? Why we can't have that opportunity too? But we have a THA that is not enabling the public to be empowered to do that. And that's where we need to take this island. I want this saying, as wealthy as a Tobagonian, to come true again. That must not just be historic and relative to colonialism. It must happen again. Because the THA must do its job so well that out of this island, we create more millionaires per capita than neighboring Trinidad. That is what must happen. That is what I want you to believe. And it's not that Farley or Watson want to fire people. We want to make you so wealthy that you in turn could help pull your community up. Imagine what will happen if it is we are insistent that community projects are done by people within the community. They built a community center in Speyside about 7 years ago. After 5 years, or after 4 years, you're walking and all the tiles are just popping up on their foot. Just breaking up. You're inside there and as rain fall, it leaking. They're fixing it again right now as we speak, fixing it over. Brand new community center. Open probably a month or so before the one in Lowlands. Brand new. Poor work. And I assure you, if the Speyside builders did build that center, it will not be so poorly done. I assure you that if we use the tile men from in the village to do the work, they will never do such poor work. Because they will know that if I do poor work, people go back talk me in the village. They go say so and so build it and it not build good. And me not use him for build me house. Village talk does spread fast. And when you use community people to do your work in your community, you distribute wealth across the community and you give people a sense of pride and loyalty because they get into build it themselves.
PDP!
The Belgarden Community Center cost us 13 million, 13 million for the little center in Belgarden. 13 million. It have homes with larger square footage than that cost far less to build than that. Imagine if that 13 million went to people from Belgarden, where the main contractors came from Belgarden. Our villagers must not just be the random laborer, the skills man you pull on for a day or two. Our villagers must be the people to have these contracts too. And I'm not saying every type of contract a local village company can do. I am saying that for as much as is possible, let us allow the locals to do the work. It will cost us far less, and we will distribute the wealth some more. We building a primary school, almost 100 million for the primary school, way more expensive than primary schools that size, and way more expensive than primary schools larger than that in Trinidad. And after you spend close to 100 million, you have to go and pay somebody to dig up the tiles and do over the tiles. Tell me that isn't madness. Tell me that isn't a sin. That isn't wastefulness. And then, on one better term, I can say, well, we don't have enough money for this. It's not about having enough money. You don't know how to spend the people money. You don't know how to manage the people resources. And we have a prime minister coming up to endorse that kind of behavior. The same prime minister who all of us as Tobagonians supported when he started to rally against Patrick Manning with color hat. All the way we're here in Tobago, whether you were paying him or not, cussing Manning on behalf of Rowley and saying Manning corrupt and Manning this. Now that same prime minister is the single largest endorser of corruption in the country. And the man endorsing it with a straight face. Because he ain't care about you. His retirement plan don't secure. He don't tell you going to retire sometime in this term. So his retirement plan secure. He good, he picnic them good. His family good. Is you to catch. Is you to catch. Yes, his sheep and goat good too. And I'm saying to you, you have to be good too. And we want you to be good too. And I end with this analogy. We have some people in an abusive relationship. And I understand the psychology of those who are in the abuse. And I understand what Stockholm Syndrome means. I understand how sometimes the abuse feels indebted to the abuser. But you know what I will never understand? The people who support the abuse from the outside. Who stay outside and say, oh God, stay now. How you going to look? All of us got church. You can make the church look bad. Stay now. Oh gosh, don't worry about it now. Oh gosh, come and cool out a little bit and then you go back. That is exactly what Dr. Rowley is doing in Tobago right now. Coming to tell you, take it, smile. Don't worry, don't fight it, don't fuss too much. Just take it. And as he tries to demonize me and demonize Watson and demonize the whole team. And the sad part about this is that I understand that recently that they were busy telling foreign consulates that we on this side ain't intelligent enough to lead. We just rabble-rousers. We just angry with them. And we're trying to fight against them. Clearly, these people don't want a democracy. They want to turn Tobago into Venezuela. They are the ones that have to be afraid. They don't want any opposition. They don't want nobody to have a different opinion. They don't want anybody to say anything contrary to what they believe. The reason why we have a democracy is so we can have parties with different political philosophies. And it's your right to do so. You ever hear me from this platform, talk anybody who left PDP and gone and joined IDA or whatever the name? No. Because I ain't worried about them and that at all. But two, is their right to do what they want. That's their right. And it's either we standing for something in this election or we fall for anything. What are you standing for, Tobago? What are you standing for tonight? What are you standing for? Are you just okay with things as they are? What are you standing for? Stand up for something, no man. Stop letting some people ride and walk over your back. Stand for something. Stop letting people take you for fool. Stand for something. Stop let somebody come every election time to give you little trinkets. Stand for something. Do not be fooled. All mutual funds are not the same. Stand for something. Stand for something. When we stand for something, we will end up with a better Tobago. And over the next few days, we are almost there. We're nearing home. We're nearing home. We have just about, 8 or 9 meetings left. We are nearing home. And I must, before I end, encourage you to stay safe. Because when we look at the COVID numbers, we see things skyrocketing. So I have to beg you to stay safe. We hearing all kind of talk and rumor that they want to now move ICU out of hospital and move it up the fort and all kind of simidimi. Stay safe. You just have a few more days. We're going to bring somebody with sense to run health. Dr. Faith B. Israel, who is qualified, will run health.
PDP!
Stay safe. Stay safe, I beg you. Stay safe, I beg you. Over the next few days, at our meetings and so on, you have to ensure you observe all the protocols. Because I don't want no police jump you and lock you up. Because you can't tell which police wearing balisé ties under the khaki. Stay safe. Somebody tell me that one up in Roxborough. Stay safe. And he's a good friend of mine, so I could say it. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. Just a few more days left when you will be able to mark yourself on Facebook safe from the PNM and saved by the PDP.
PDP.
Stay safe. Stay safe. Because in this season, we also need you to help us to canvass. You have to tell everybody to stay the course. You have to tell everybody to stay on board. You have to tell everybody that it don't make sense going with some people who after 21 years now promising you things that they should have done 21 years ago. So stay safe, Tobago. Because you staying safe is important to us redeveloping this island. Few more days to go until we can safely anchor home. Just a few more days. We're aiming for all 15 seats.
PDP!
I understand their desperation and their pressure because they're studying that if they lose Tobago, they lose the national parliament. Truth be told, I don't care about either political parties in Trinidad. I only care about what happens in Tobago because Tobago is my business. And so you have to stay safe so that we can ensure we fix this place. We have to fix this place. We will start with the simple things, those community development things. The bus service will start with the simple things. You will end up in a Tobago that will have a fleet of electric buses where you could ride nice and easy and in an environmentally friendly manner. If little Barbados could do it, what's wrong with we? If little Barbados could attract billions of dollars in money to set up wind energy and to have a goal to be 100% weaned off of fossil fuels by 2030. What's wrong with we? Why we can't dream to? Why we have to sit down and experience this nightmare? Wake up from this nightmare. You can do something about your nightmares too. Get rid of your nightmares. They say black and green does cut blight. Get rid of your nightmares. Vote for the Bamboo Bullifay. And when you do that, we can begin that trajectory that leads us to Tobago becoming the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you very much, Tobago. Have a good night.
Spartans, you have heard from Chavez. You have heard from our Chief Secretary designate. Let me remind all of us that tomorrow night, the focus would be on the electoral district of Mason Hall, Mariah. And on Saturday night, the focus will be on Bon Accord, Crown Point. Spartans, thank you for being a part of our audience tonight. Get to your homes safely. The blessings of the Lord Almighty go with you. Stay safe, stay well. And remember, on December 6th, we are voting for the Bamboo Boniface. PDP. That is easy. Black and green. God bless us all.